Hey yo, what's going on YouTube? I know it's been a while, but I'm back better than ever. Um, hey, I've just been doing the whole Elden Ring stuff, and I know you guys have probably been wondering where's Clash Master been at. You thought I left KG Films for dead or whatever, but nah. On the other side, I just really been enjoying Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, and since I completed that and did a review on my thoughts of the DLC and stuff like that, I just really been like, all right, let me do normal stuff, social life, and wrap up. Obviously, Acolyte. I did do a trailer breakdown for it, and I thought it would only be right for me to revisit it and to tell you my take as it as a whole series. I felt like it was better than just doing episode by episode by episode. The anticipation. So, and with that being said, I'm going to go into this. With the anticipation. So, my thing with the Star Wars Acolyte as a whole series now. The first episodes I thought were gonna be good. The direction was very but I think overall, man, from the first two episodes and the third and fourth, it really seemed like okay, the copy and paste of the prequels, the trilogies, and all that is definitely here. I felt like they were, putting, I'll say, certain Jedi Grandmasters on like a weird chopping block of a meme now. It was just okay. So I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, man, give him an L. It's been one hell of a day, and I'm doing this sober. Oh man, I messed up. But I wanted to let you guys know, like, when I first heard about Acolyte, and I heard of, and I watched Star Wars series. Shouts out to him. I like his content and a few others. Star Wars. Content creators. They made it easy for anyone like me that grew up watching Star Wars but never really read the comics and stuff. And then when Disney bought it, you understand the lore and stuff. Like I grew up watching obviously, episodes, A New Hope all the way to Return of the Jedi. And then watching the prequels later when they made the prequels. I didn't get into Clone Wars right away until after, and that's when it was on Netflix. Then I binged it. I appreciated it because my boy was, he got me into watching Clone Wars and was just telling me about it. So I fell in love with Clone Wars, and then I was watching obviously Rebels, and I was like, "Yo, this shit is good." And it made it easier to kind of understand the story and understand everything, and then everything they have in Legends that comes over to canon. It was easy, an easy peasy fix, easy peasy for people like me to get into it, and I really appreciate someone to take the time to do it. And now we get into Acolyte, and before then, like the show was mentioned to kind of be this, that, and the third, and Jedi. Thought it was cool, and like I said, you had a lot of, Star Wars content creators, giving it praise and making you feel like this is going to be a good one. These people know their stuff, they know what's going on. So okay, I'm gonna, take their advice and go and going on it, going to watch with an open mind. I think for me was the best, and seeing the end was just like, man, but also just seeing it after I felt like episode three, that's where I was like, yo, you know, is it enjoyable? To me, the combat was kind of enjoyable. Like I said, we never really seen Jedi really like hand to hand. I thought that was a cool way of introducing something a little bit different than what we normally see with lightsaber duels and the Force, but to have actual some type of martial arts, I thought was kind of cool, and it gave the Jedi to me like more flavor, more layer, because these are peacekeepers, these are monks, but I'm pretty sure um, they should be trained in some type of hand to hand. You just never know. If you can't get to your lightsaber and you can't force call it, then you got to resort to some type of hand to hand. And I thought they kind of introduced it very well. But how they made the Jedi and how they perceived the Jedi was very much like not cool at all. Um, so, like, because I kind of felt like I was going back and forth, but nah. So, like, for example, when the first episode opens up and you have this acolyte pretty much talking to Trinity, Master Trinity, I'm gonna call her Trinity, tell her to fight me at your full strength, and they say Jedi don't fight people unarmed and stuff like that. I thought that was like obviously like kind of cool. But as it progressed on the rabbit hole and you started seeing things, you're left with more questions than you are answers, dude. Like it was just crazy. Like anyone in the comments, I'm sure you guys watched it or didn't watch it, but I will say, because there's going to be spoilers, bro. Like if you guys haven't watched it, listen. If you guys haven't watched it and don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and watch it and come back. I feel like this is more me venting to you about the series because it's like it's not Star Wars, bro. Like I get it, you have characters of the Star Wars, you're using some of the lore, but you're kind of shitting on what was already done. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be, from what I remember, was supposed to be 1,000 years of peace, but it's actually 87 years of peace, 87 years before the Phantom Menace. So this is kind of like saying, hey, before Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and the story of Anakin happens, this happens. And it's kind of like, okay. And then you're just watching it episode by episode, and then you're seeing Sith, and then you got real hardcore fans talk about the Sith haven't and pretty much Caddy Mundi's line, the Sith haven't existed on millennia. He got turned into like a whole meme, a skit, and it's like, yeah. Then you got the same dude that was there, Caddy Mundi, over here doing a cover up about Jedi getting killed, right? And it's like, bro, you're over here doing cover-ups. And then when Qui-Gon Jinn in episode 1 comes and tells you, hey, there's a dude wielding a lightsaber and he's out to kill us, you're like, it's impossible. The Sith, Sith they've been extinct for all millennium. It's not them. Dismissed. And it's like, damn. Then Qui-Gon Jinn does get killed by a Sith. And now you're just like, then come the Clone Wars. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, damn. And and just also, it's supposed to be peace. So I don't understand why in a time of peace they would bring this up. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole synopsis of it was supposed to be 1,000 years of peace and this, that, and then like a Sith emerges from the dark and whatever. They say skip the 1,000 years. We'll do it at 87, a little bit before we get to the Phantom Menace. But the numbers won't add up. I just feel like the numbers won't add up. From Keanu Mundi's age, Yoda's age, like you gotta make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? You have to make it make sense. And like I'll get into Yoda way later, but I will say that like this show, I had to watch with an open mind because I felt like if I was gonna really like, okay, with a lot of the content I've been absorbing and watching the shows, and to my knowledge, like what's wrong and what it is, I would have went crazy. I would have just been like, I have to pull the trailer video, and I'm like, I don't even want to do that because I was already committed. And I just feel like venting and just giving my own opinion about Acolyte is just better than just, not at all. So it was just like, bro, I don't get it, bro. Like some of the scenes that they were doing in the show, I felt like they were trying to top past Star Wars just stuff, just from from the lightsaber combat. Like the hand-to-hand was new. I don't really can put that to any kind of, we've seen that before. It's more of the lightsabers. It was more of like when they did show Smilo Ren, I'm going to call him that. When they did introduce him, you got all these Jedi Knights that have been certified, and they got Padawans and all this, and they become straight passengers. It felt like to me like when Mace Windu walked in on Chancellor Palpatine being a Sith, and he killed half the Grand Masters in like swoops and sweeps. I felt like with this Sith Lord, he just force pushes a whole fleet of Jedi. Going to the next episode, we see half the platoon of Jedi Masters, Knights, and all that dead on the floor, and then you just got all these people just being just slaughtered by this one guy. You got these Jedi's that've been training for a long time, right? But yeah, this is a time of peace, and I'm gonna keep saying that this is a time of peace. But you got these Jedi getting slaughtered by this one dude. Like you got this dude training allegedly, supposedly in secret because he calls himself a Sith, whatever. All right, got these Jedi that have been training from young all the way up. They're getting beaten by this one dude, right? So now they're like, you got to have training from a Jedi. Who's it from? He's not going to say, yada yada yada. All right, he's not going to say. That's fine. But I will say, for him to take down all those Jedi and not one, leave unscathed, but Master Soul was just bullshit. And I'm just going to call it for that. And then you got the one girl, I forget her name, but she wore, rocked the green lightsaber. She was a Padawan, and she was going toe to toe with this guy. Had she would have peeped his other blade underneath the hilt, she would have lived. But like that's a Padawan. Like, why is the Padawan going toe to toe? And her, I think she had a master or something like that. No, I think she was Master Saul's Padawan. Like Yard, where was his Padawan? Was she slaughtered, or did she stay on Coruscant? Like, there's just so many answers that, like, obviously, thank God they didn't, answer questions. I'm sorry, questions that should have been answered and they didn't. But like, I'm just glad, bro. And then we get to this dude, the Sith. He was once a Padawan. He was once in the Jedi Order, and then like his master threw him away. And I'm just sitting there like, so he calls himself a Sith because his master threw him away. For whatever reason, his master threw him away. He became a Sith. We don't know the history, but he became dark side user. All right, cool, whatever. So he wants to be a Sith. He's doing this whole acolyte in order to become a Sith, or whatever the case is. You got to kill a Jedi unarmed, and you're in this rank. Okay, so he has his little disciple, so to speak, and I feel like he called himself a Sith to the Jedi because he wasn't a Jedi anymore once his master gave up on him or threw him to the lake or whatever. But it's like, we already know, like who his master was going to be just because of just certain, cue points in films that they have, like, hey, he has this mark or this blemish. And then, hey, this person has a key factor that could tie into that person's thing. So you're kind of seeing it, before we get to like the next few episodes. And I'm just sitting there like, the only thing that goes through my mind when I'm getting down this rabbit hole is how much there's a lot of copy and paste from just the prequels and the sequel trilogies, bro. Like, so I feel like is this wannabe Qui-Gon Jinn. The Virgins is pretty much Anakin split into two and having sisters, and being produced by witches that I guess for some reason were exiled in their home planet because they were different. And they were able to obviously manipulate the force or the thread into giving life into one girl, but they split it into two bodies. So go figure with that. And they're, I can't remember what theory said, but don't quote me on it. But I'll say they're one with the force on that planet. You know what I'm saying? They're able to do things on that planet that I guess maybe at other planets they're not as like powerful, So okay, so they're force sensitive. I think watching it, I'm like, okay, they got to be force sensitive, or maybe to a degree, like more witch like with the spells and the whole being in someone's mind kind of thing, and maybe some force things here and there. It was weird, but like a hybrid of stuff, it whatever. But so you have them on that, and then they get slaughtered by Jedi. That's a given. You have Saul, who's in a dilemma, who's supposed to be Qui-Gon Jinn at this time, right? Who's in a dilemma because he's obsessed with Osha, doesn't want May, and like, there we go. The witches were trying to be like a watered down version of the Night Sisters. The only thing is they couldn't really top the Night Sisters. So this is the copy and paste. Like, I feel like they're like, hey, what if Anakin was made by witches, and the Jedi came, took Anakin, and said, okay, the same thing that they told him in the Phantom Menace, like, oh, he's too old to train because he's 8 or 9, and that was the thing. These girls are too old to train. So it's like I'm not seeing something fresh, something new. I'm seeing a whole lot of copy and paste. You got these watered down night witches, Night Sisters. You got you pretty much got Jedi trying to like come through and strong arm and oppress people, and that just just didn't make sense. And it was just like, this is supposed to be a time of peace. Like I said, this is supposed to be a time of peace. Why are the Jedi, doing all of this? And then now you got like the Senate's reviewing the Jedi because the Senate thinks the Jedi are crazy and running a cult and doing this and the third. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, what's going on? Like, maybe the person who created the show must have watched it from a point of view that didn't make sense, and they're like, we're gonna take everything Anakin said in Revenge of the Sith and kind of tell it in this story, but back in the day before he was born, that the Jedi are evil and yada yada yada, and this, that, and the third, and this is like what's going on. And I found it weird too, like how they were having like these weird emotional attachments, and like it was kind of like very taboo, like, oh, you're having attachments for your Padawan. That's kind of like looking bad upon it. It was just kind of like, like it seemed too like in your face, and I felt like, I'm like, no, like when I think of Star Wars, and I think of like attachments, I think of like that, definitely that master and Padawan relationship, Anakin and Ahsoka, Qui-Gon and Dooku, Qui-Gon and of course his Padawan Obi-Wan. You're not like, like the emotional attachment is obviously there, but it's not like supposed to be blatantly in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I felt like that's what they were like. They kept emphasizing on, and I was like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. They feel like they're trying to push like Jedi can't have like emotion. They can, but it's displayed differently. That's all. I feel like it was displayed differently. Like Anakin had obviously his emotion when he lost his mother, thought he was gonna lose Padme, and Ahsoka was being well, not executed, but was being prosecuted for her supposedly crimes that Anakin went through all these above and beyond things. And then you see it like with Turn on the Jedi and stuff like that in later series. So it's fine. Like, they do play off certain emotions. Even Obi-Wan had a Mandalorian like girlfriend he was kind of like seeing. But they all have some type of emotional like, attachment, but it's just not there, like that. And I think in the show that's supposed to predate that, they're very much in your face with it. So I felt like it was too much just shoving shit down our throats, bro. Now, I'm gonna get to the nitty-gritty, the final end of it. We see Plagueis. We see Yoda. We see them bleed a red lightsaber. And this is where shit, for me, I'm like, I'm done. I'm glad. I'm glad this is only 8 episodes. This is where I'm like, I just gotta one more episode, I'm gonna write it out. This is the shit I could personally say didn't need to be in here. But to say face and to be like, hey, we're gonna get a season 2, we might. That's what they had to do. Plagueis the Wise. Now I don't know much about him, but there's people that do, and I will give you my 2 cents on what I do know a little bit about. They say, obviously he had a few disciples and stuff like that, but they say he's not even supposed to like be, if I'm not mistaken, like not even be around there because like it's 87 years. You know, um, you just got to do math, like just straight logic math. Like, how would this tie in with episode 1? And then like I said, then you got Yoda, and Yoda could sense from like galaxies away. Like, look at Order 66. Dude was all in another whole different planet, and he felt the loss of all the Jedi that got purged. So you mean to tell me you have this Smiler Ren dude purge, kill all the Jedi, right? Like Palpatine did. Yoda doesn't sense it. Not one bit. Then they get into some other shenanigans, right? And Yoda, like Yoda's not sensing nothing. He's just letting it go over his head, like completely. That's crazy. That's nuts. You got you're not Palpatine. You got Plagueis in the corner, in the dark, looking like a creep. And it's just like, bro, I don't understand why would you have Yoda at the last part because one of his Padawans or Jedi Knights, Masters, whatever, is over there. Go, Master, I gotta talk to you about something. Like, I don't understand why that would really be like worthy of like a money shot. Like, we're gonna have Yoda. Like, you didn't need Yoda in here. I think they just did that because they knew in order to get a season 2, they have to pull for more of the lore. But I feel like they're breaking Star Wars, bro. You got Keanu Mundi who said the Sith hasn't been around in all millennium. You have Sith show up. You got the Sith dude killing all these Jedi people, and Yoda doesn't censor. You got Plagueis in the cut. Then you got Keanu Mundi on this cover up. Then you got supposedly like the Senate and everything trying to take down the Jedi, review the Jedi because they think there's some kind of crazy cult, this, that, and the third. You got the Jedi over here oppressing other people in different galaxies and just doing all this other stuff when it's like, yo, these dudes aren't Sith. And then you got the dude, Smilo Ren, I forgot to mention, who wants to practice his Sith. So he's looking like the Jedi are bad, but it's like, nigga, you're evil. Like completely. You're trying to practice the like dark magic, not dark magic, but like on the dark side of the force. Like, dude, come on. Like, what's really going on? And the Jedi are trying to stop it, which, okay, I get it, but there was just like the writing on the wall just didn't really stick to me. It was like, it's not fluid. Like when I look at like Mandalorian, smooth. Ahsoka, cool. I have not watched Andor, but I've heard mixed reviews about Andor, and I might want to give Andor a chance before this one. But overall, man, the series, I know we're gonna get a season 2. Do I think that there's any room for improvement? Listen, I think the way this is going, it's gonna get worse. Season 2 is gonna introduce Plagueis the Wise and Palpatine. Anakin's sisters, I'm gonna say it for now, May and Osha are still there. What I forgot to mention, by the way, is the bullshit bleeding of the Kyber crystal. And this is where I give all the props to Star Wars Theory. He would cover, comics of the Star Wars stuff, the canon stuff, of course, even the Legends. Been subscribed to them for a while, but and even I was kind of like, that's but see, back in the day, it used to be a synthetic red. But Disney kind of made it seem like now they got to take a kyber crystal from a Jedi or whatever and bleed it red. But it's not an easy task to do. And in the Vader comic, like he showed the demonstration, and this is Vader at like in his prime, like Vader in his prime doing prime stuff. You know what I'm saying? Killing Jedi, hunting Jedi, and all types of stuff. And it took him a lot of emotion to really bleed out that kyber crystal to make it red and to make it his. In the show, we see Osha choke out her master, and I guess that would be the introducing of the first Force choke on the show, canon-wise now. Do whatever you want with that. And then take her old master's saber, and you kind of see the crystals somewhat already turn red. But once Smilo Ren goes to console Osha, and she draws the lightsaber, it goes from blue to transforming into red. And I'm like, don't tell me they're trying to like bleed this thing. Like, this is how they bleed it. It was weird, but it was weird because it was like you would see it blue and then you would see it red, and then you would see like a power scale go up and down. Like it was kind of conflicted, even like if it wanted to go red or do this, but then Osha fully let out her emotions, whatever, and it became red. So I'm like, so this is what we're doing now. This is like how they just do it. They just, but yet Vader in his comic had to put in so much pain. Shit was crackling and all that. He had to think about, Obi-Wan beating him because, he had the high ground. I'm sure that's forever living rent-free in Vader's mind. Padme dying, Ahsoka leaving his mom dying, and the Jedi letting him to sit on the Grand Master Council but not making him a Grand Master. Like, he was conflicted with so much. And he had to do that to make it bleed. Meanwhile, you got this girl. It's like, you mean to tell me you killed my mom because, it's true? And it's like, yeah, screw it and bleed. And it's like, bro, I think you guys are kind of missing the point. But with Star Wars Acolyte, I'm glad it's done. I know when we get season 2, everyone's going to be talking about it. It's going to be the talk of the town. If it's going to be better, if what they're going to do, what they're going to retcon, like what other more stuff that they're going to do with the show. Like, what are they going to kill? Like, what other lore are they really going to kill? Like, I feel like it's at this point copy and paste, bro. Star Wars Acolyte is a copy and paste of all the movies. If you want to see all the movies, just watch them. Don't watch Acolyte, not one bit. It. Let me stop. Let me retract that statement. Watch Acolyte at your own discretion. Your own, discretion. I felt like going in there with a good mind was good, but my honest opinion, man, it's not really it, man. They really screwed the pooch on a lot. Entertainment wise was fine, but it's just I'll say this: I could watch that show muted. I could watch that. I could really sit there like I'd watch it muted. I'd watch it muted just whenever I'm cleaning the house or doing something, and I'm looking over just to see stuff, funny stuff, or them just yapping their mouth, and I'll watch it muted. I'll watch it muted and be like, "Show was good muted. The show was good muted." It when they start talking, and I just felt like they're just bashing George Lucas' work, bro. That's just me. I felt like they were really like, and they can't shit too much on obviously Anakin, so they try to get really right, almost on the button before people go get pissed. And I was like, nah, bro, this ain't it, man. This ain't it. But hey, to each his own. Post your thoughts in the comments down below. You guys, I know it's been a while since I posted anything on the film side of things, and I've been talking about doing some live reactions and stuff like that. And if you guys like it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way in, because it greatly helps me out with the channel. But I know I'm going to be doing some short film like reactions and breakdowns and stuff like that, giving you my take. I want to do something a little bit different on this channel. Seeing that I completed Elden Ring, I've been over there and I've just been dropping a whole bunch of go check out my gaming channel, go check out my gaming channel. So I wanted to give this channel some love. It's been a while, and just coming off the cups, pretty much the weekend of watching Long Legs. I'm going to be discussing that as well. So just wanted to just start putting out a little bit more content on the film side and let people know I got a gaming channel, so you can check me out when I'm gaming or check me out when I'm covering shows, TV shows and movies, short films now as well. So I'm definitely going to try and get into that lane of that. But that's going to conclude this one. Like I said, man, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to, leave a like, and also post your thoughts in the comments down below. We can get a conversation going. I'm just getting used to some of my outro stuff. It's been a while because Blue Saber Gaming is a whole different vibe. So yeah, man. But I'll definitely catch you guys in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace. And may the force be with you.